Hello and welcome to Dust, Dirt and Dakar. I am Hannes Visser, and over the next hour we are going to be chatting to some of the teams who headed over to South America in January to attempt to conquer the hardest off-road race in the world. And a bit later we will be chatting to Hyundai about their entry into the 2014 World Rally Championship. First up in studio with us, we have the guys from the Toyota Imperial South Africa Dakar team. We've got Glenn Hall, the man behind the steering wheel, Leroy Poulter, and his co-driver Rob Howie. Guys, welcome. After a long and hard Dakar. We'll get to those details now, but Glenn, let's start with you. Is it safe to say you're a veteran of how many Dakars now?
Oh, I think 10. I don't count really, but 10's enough. Yeah.
10 Dakars, sure. Okay, and of course we got Leroy, who made your debut this year. Now, just tell us, was it a dream always to go to the Dakar?
Well, obviously we've, this year obviously it wasn't a dream in the beginning. We've been on tar all our life, and when Glenn gave us the opportunity to get onto the dirt, it obviously was a dream then. It became, real this year.
Robin, from your side, obviously you do a lot more than just co-driving. You also play an integral part at horse speed in building and preparing the car, and then also sitting in the co-driver's seat. What's that like?
Oh, it's a full-time job for me. It's good. Yes, involved behind the scenes and in the front line, so it's quite a nice, diverse position for me.
Glenn, I think you might be the right person to ask after having been to Dakar 10 times. I've had the privilege of going twice, and I know that the Dakar is extremely tough. You spend long, long hours behind the wheel, and that's just covering the event or as a spectator, on good roads and everything. So what is it like for you guys to be running a team at the world's toughest event? Everyone says it's the world's most grueling event. Why is it?
Well, this year was a really good example of that, and the organisers put us under a lot of pressure. Not only the drivers and crews, but the assistants, the support crew. In the first 5 days, I think we had, let's say, 4,000 kilometres, but we had very little time when we got to the bivouac, so the pressure was on. Long, difficult road sections, and it's difficult because the speed is controlled by the organisers to make it safe for everybody, so it's a strict 110. You get there late at night, set up the bivouac straight away, the cars are coming in late, and then early the next morning. So this year, for the assistant side, for us, it was the toughest that I can remember, and I think really for the race crews, from what I saw from the outside, all the rains did a lot of damage to the road, which made that a lot more tricky for the co-drivers. There was a lot of changes in the road book because the road book has been put together over the last 6 or 8 months, so that's only corrected literally the day before the race. So a lot of pressure, a lot of unknowns.
Just give us an indication of what your day consists of. I mean, you've got to move 600 or 800 kilometers, whatever the day dictates. You've got to set up the whole bivouac and all the equipment and tools and get all the mechanics. Give us an indication of how tough a day really is. What goes on in an 8 or 10 or 12-hour period?
Well, that's easy, because today, this race, the first day, we started in Rosario. We had an early start, 5 o'clock away, 900 Ks to drive. We arrived there late in the afternoon, it was, early evening, 7 o'clock. By the time we got set up, it was 9 in the evening. The cars had arrived, I think, from memory, about 8:30. We serviced, we had a lot of things to do. It was the first bivouac, so we were finished 2 o'clock in the morning. 5:30 the next morning we were away down the road. So, and it was like that for 3 days. Then we got up to the altitude, and on my GPS we had 4,800 meters we were driving over, and there was 200 Ks of that. So you've only got a little bit of oxygen. Everybody's feeling lightheaded. So just for the assistance crews, it was really tough and tiring.
Leroy, over the years, I mean, you're a multi-talented sportsman. You've competed in go-karts and off-road racing and circuit racing, and you're currently one of the top rally drivers in South Africa. But how different was it going to Dakar for the first time compared to all these experiences that you do have?
Well, Hannes, I mean, the biggest thing is again, the heat is something I'm not used to. It's obviously 48 degrees there. The 90% humidity was just something to get used to when we arrived there. But obviously the race is just, you drive between 8 and 10 hours a day. You get up at 5 in the morning and you're in the car till 8, 9 o'clock every night. And I think it's something, you cannot train and get used to it. It's just, you got to go and do the event. It's something really incredible to do. And I think we've done it now once, and you know what you're in for the future.
Rob, to get to you, the navigators or co-drivers, often the unsung heroes. I don't think people really understand the role that you guys play inside the car. This was your third ever Dakar, and sitting next to a guy telling him to go fast and race through the desert, and you don't even have a steering wheel to hold on to. I mean, how does that work for you?
Well, there's that old saying in rally raiding, there's the only time a co-driver's famous is when he makes a mistake. So as long as you don't hear about me, and obviously doing a good job.
Now, guys, just quickly take us through the race. I must admit, I had bets with my mates, and I said to them, I bet you guys, because I know how fast Leroy can be in certain conditions especially. And I took a bet with friends, and I said to them that Leroy will, early on in the Dakar, lead this event. And they said to me, it's the Dakar. You've got Carlos Sainz, Stefan Petterhans, all these guys, and your own teammate, Janelle. And you, in fact, did lead the Dakar after the first checkpoint of day one. So I won my bet. Tell us about the start and what it was like to get into it so quickly.
Well, obviously, I mean, getting there and, you know, obviously we had 4 or 5 days before the event, but we got to Scrutineering and, you know, we know what we've got. We've got the Hilux, and we walked around the Scrutineering and you saw the Minis for the first time and these other cars, and I actually got a bit worried. I didn't think we were going to be, I mean, you're a bit intimidated around there. And when we started the first stage, a lot of nerves between myself, and we started in the first stage, and it actually felt pretty good. You know, I said to Rob about 20 k's in, how are we going? He said, no, this is perfect, you know, carry on like this. And about 50 or 60 k's in, there was a helicopter following us. And I said to Rob, I think something's happening, yeah. So, I mean, obviously it was good. I mean, it was terrain that was good for me, and the car was excellent, excellent.
So just tell us a little bit more about the race. It started well, and then it obviously got a bit tougher from there, being your first time. What happened in your race?
Well, you know, as you said, we were doing so well in the beginning, and when you run in the top pack, it's actually easier than running at the back. And, you know, it is quite exciting to be with all the top guys, and you do feel a part of this really cool camaraderie of all these excellent people. And, yeah, unfortunately, when our mechanical trouble started on after day 3, you know, day 3 was our best stage.
What was that mechanical trouble?
Well, I'll say we were going too quickly in a very rough, rutted out area, and probably sort of misread the terrain in terms of what the car could handle, and we damaged the rear dampers, and then we had to stop. And of course, when you stop, the whole field goes past, you know, and that just put us on the back foot for the next couple of days.
So, Leroy, how do things change in a situation like that? You were running up there, and now you've lost time. You had to wait for the service truck. The team work hard to get the car back on its wheels, so to speak, and then things change now. Now you start later every day, so I assume it's a completely different experience running up front than running from 30th or whatever on the road.
Definitely. I think you got to take a step back, which, you know, unfortunately maybe I didn't, because we wanted to get back up there so quickly. But you realise again you've got 7 days still of this race. I mean, you've got thousands of kilometers to do, but I pushed a little bit too hard and trying to get, you know, you get stuck behind trucks. You start behind sometimes 20 trucks, and you cannot pass. I know it's a desert where it's wide and open, but there is a single track through the desert, and I mean, it caught us out one day. We tried to pass a truck in the dust, and we landed on the side of a big hole in the road and put us on our roof. So it's just such a difficult race. You got to just take time and get through each day slowly, get through, and eventually you work your way back up through the field.
And just talking about driving through the desert, Rob, maybe you're definitely the right person to answer this question. What is the navigation like? I mean, the guys give you waypoints that you must go and find, and it's not always just a specific road that leads to that waypoint. How do you navigate in the desert?
The only thing a co-driver has is his road book, and all the information is in there. There's no GPS. There's a GPS, but not like, you know, in your car. The waypoints are specific places that you need to get to, and only when you're in the area of the waypoint does the GPS light up. So you just need to be accurate all the time, you know, getting to each fork in the riverbed. You know, if you go up the wrong river in a riverbed, obviously you can go, you know, a couple of kilometers wrong before you work it out.
We've seen some of the top guys, even Carlos Sainz this year, and Nasser Al-Attiyah, those guys missed waypoints. I think it's an hour penalty then, so that if you're running up there an hour, it means you're probably not going to win the Dakar.
no, it is tricky. So it's difficult to drive, it's difficult to co-drive, it's a difficult event. And if it was too easy, then it wouldn't be such a special thing to finish it. Never mind do well.
Glenn, just a quick question. Your team is obviously part of a mixed team with the overdrive guys looking after all the different Hiluxes that were mostly built by you here in South Africa. How big is the team?
There was a total of 60 people or 65 people in the team this year, but we keep ourselves separate on the corner. This year we were a real total South African effort, and that was good for us. So we had our 18 kind of technician men strong point in the corner with our 2 tracks, and we just used overdrive for a little bit of logistics. But it is easier. You need that infrastructure to help you. But having said that, it was great having all our own South African team and our own guys, and everybody takes responsibility, and that made it easier than it probably otherwise would have been. Yeah.
I must say it fills all South Africans with pride when we sit here at home and watch you guys do well. But Glenn, can we talk a little bit about the results and especially the rules? I'd like to touch on the following, that the last 2 years, 2012 and 13, with Janelle, you guys came 3rd and then 2nd, and everyone was hoping and expecting a win this year. But I don't think that people realize how tough it is taking your South African outfit to the international stage, taking on the big guns with big budgets like Mini, which, by the way, isn't really Minis, and I'm sure you'll tell us about that now. What is it like taking on these guys? You know, Mini, BMW, the might of that entire big team with 8 or 10 cars. It must be very difficult.
Well, it's difficult to put it in the right order for you, Hannes. First and foremost is the regulations are not balanced with regard to the engine. And they promised us, the organisers really promised us that would be reviewed last year. Then this year was meant to be so suited in the first half to our type of vehicle, more rally roads, and only then did we come to the dunes. But when we got there, even though we pleaded that that is not the case, nothing was changed, and this year it was a real display of how far the rules are. You know, I mean, we could have easily had 6 Minis in a row and then us. So we were definitely faster than last year, there's no question about that. But the reality is...
But they were also faster.
They were also a little bit faster, but I think that's where it really is. You know, there's a discrepancy in the power output of probably almost 100% in terms of the torque of the engines. So that I don't think is fair, and we've got to fix that.
I think it's important for people to realize that you're running in a petrol-powered Hilux, whereas the Minis have got huge turbos, up at altitude. It must be it is an unfair advantage to them, isn't it?
Well, I think that's clear. You know, the Nasser Al-Attiyah put it in a nutshell. He'd driven the Touareg, he'd driven the Buggy last year. He got in the Mini. We asked him how it was before the start. He said, this engine was better than the Touareg, a lot, more torque, more rev band, and better response. And it's meant to be a production engine, which it's really not. And that's where we've got to get to in the rules. So we're fighting hard for that.
Well, I hope you guys do get the rules right. If you do, then you probably stand a chance of being even more competitive next year. Leroy, is that the plan? You going back next year and try and get up closer to the leaders?
Look, I'd love to go back. As I said earlier, we've experienced it now. You know what you're kind of in for and what to do. And if the rules change, I do believe the car is very good.
Rob, give us a funny moment inside the car. Surely you guys spend 10 hours a day in the car, but every now and then something funny must have happened. Share it with us quickly.
I think we were taking a lot more pain than having to making jokes, but there was one funny time in the bivouac. It was the night we got in at just after 2:30, and Michaela, Leroy's wife, had made us our tent in the bivouac, and we had a couple hours sleep, and the next morning I was quickly trying to do all the changes in my road book while eating a piece of dried out ham and coffee that's like old engine oil. And there was one chap came to me in his broken French. He said, "You from Copiloto car number 323? And I said, yes. And he just put his head in his hands and he said, "Every day, then every night." And then he said, he gestured something which I can't do in front of the camera, but he said, "Mad, mad." So if he thought we were crazy, that's pretty cool.
Well, gentlemen, I wish you good luck for next year, and hopefully next year it will be every day going in the one direction. Glenn, again, well done on the achievement. Not a podium this year for Janelle, 4th overall. Still a very good result, and hopefully they can sort the rules out next year so we can have one day hopefully say 2 South African teams on the podium. Thanks for joining us. So plenty still to talk about, and after the break we are going to catch up with Japie Badenhorst, who represented Ford at this year's race, and we will also be chatting to Hyundai later in the show about their entry into the 2014 World Rally Championship. And taking us to an ad break, a quick look at what the Toyota guys experienced at this year's Dakar.
The Toyota assembly plant in Argentina, in Zerrat, about 80 km north of Buenos Aires. So all the cars and the parts containers have been delivered here, and we're in the type of service trading centre, which is perfect for us. However, it is a little bit hot, to say the least. The first task is to get the cars running again, so they've been taken off the pallets about 2 hours ago. We started them, run them, everything's okay, so now it's the final assembly of the suspension and the roof, and some little wiring tweaks that we made back home that are now being fitted to bring both cars up to the same spec. Then a separate team now are unpacking all of the packing cases that SAA bought here for us, and we're dividing them into the areas of the truck, so that when the trucks arrive tomorrow it'll be an easier task to put all the parts in the appropriate places. There's 9.2 tons of stuff, and it's 38 degrees here with about 70% humidity.
Africa, junto a dir von Sitzlewitz de Alemania.
We had a bad start, not good at all. We lost the power steering after about 30 k's. You know, I felt it going slowly, and then we had to stop. You know, put some oil in. We had some oil on board. Carlos came past us. We managed to catch him again, but our situation seemed to get worse, and you know, we had to put in again. And eventually we ran out of oil, and I even used brake fluid in the end, you know. And then the last 50 k's I had absolutely no power steering, and it was one of the most twisty stages that I've ever done.
As we got going, the terrain was more what I'm used to, and it just felt like everything was flowing. You know, we got to CP1, and I said to Rob, "Geez, this feels amazing." I mean, we were just catching everyone.
Been a very, very tough start, very little sleep. They've been pushing us to the limit. So yesterday I thought we had stuff under control. Lo and behold, 55 k's into the stage today, and Rob comes on the sat phone and said they burst both rear dampers on one side, and they couldn't continue. Already that's 2 hours gone before you blink, because that has to start after all the cars. I think there was like 105 starters this morning, so that took the edge off things. The good news was that when we saw that Janelle was third, just a minute behind the leader at halfway. Well, we're on day 5, I think. You know, Dakar's the thing where you take it one day at a time, but we had a really good day for Janelle today, and he really pushed hard. The car ran really well. The Hilux coped with a fantastic climb. I must tell you that the crew have taken a real beating as well as the car today. Last night was an all-nighter. It's 42 degrees here in Tucumán. Humidity feels like 95%, and the guys didn't have any sleep last night. I mean, we got the best crew in the bivouac.
We're learning about the Dakar, I think. You know, we've had a little bit of problems. The previous day we had a damper that burst in the back, and we had to wait for the T4 truck to come and put the damper in and then carry on from there, but we waited 3 hours. So, you know, obviously 2 long days. I think we spent now 10 hours today and 11 hours yesterday in the car, so it's a long time. I mean, it was the toughest day I've ever had in my life, I think.
Quite a tough week, I would say. You know, especially the last 2 days was really, really tough. They shortened yesterday. You know, if they didn't shorten it, I don't think a lot of guys would have made it to the finish. But it was a proper Dakar. You know, it was probably one of the hardest ones since the first one they had here, and you know, it's a proper test of everything. You know, so I have no problem with it. It's been pretty good. We had I think a good first week. It's just a pity about you know, the problems we had with the power steering and a little problem with the brakes. Otherwise, we could have been really in a good position because the car's got very good performance at this point in time. So, you know, from that point of view, it's a very positive thing.
We're off to Chile, and with it, it's going to come some big, tough dunes. We're going to cross the Andes ourselves at 4,500 meters. Got to drink a lot. We'll be drinking 4 liters each of water during that passage over the Andes. Maybe take some really strong headache pills to help you over there. Some of the guys go over feeling a little lightheaded. Some of the guys are in trouble, and they've always got medics on the way.
In the Badlands of southern Utah, a unique group of insane